To stay over for the show if you want to hear them.
Hi, we are here at the Elvis Fest in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is my first time being here, and I cannot tell you how overly thrilled I am to be here. We have Cynthia Pepper. We all know Cynthia Pepper. We grew up with her. She is here. We have Tanya Lamani George, who is well known to the Elvis people, and she was Little Egypt in his 68 comeback special. That's Elvis Presley's 68 comeback special. She's also been on Star Trek and some fabulous, fabulous films. I know you love her, but I am standing with somebody that I have long admired for many, many different reasons. And when I was told that he would be here this weekend, I was beyond thrilled. We are standing with none other than Mr. Dave Hebler. Dave Hebler, I am so thrilled to see you, and I have not seen this gentleman since Elvis's funeral and before that, and he has got some fabulous stories that he's going to be telling, sharing with the audience at 11 a.m. on Sunday here at theelvisfest.com, along with myself, sharing stories about Elvis, our time with him, funny things that happened, different kind of stories. And I want to say to you, you look amazing, and you've got all these schools all over the country. And when I saw him, I just hugged him so tightly. It's been 40 years, and I can't believe it, and you look amazing. What have you been doing in a bird's eye view in the last 40 years since I have not seen you?
Oh my goodness. I have been like all over doing everything on the face of the earth. There was actually a time when I was homeless, to be perfectly honest with you. Ended up in Thailand working on a kung fu movie.
Good for you. That's a good place to do kung fu.
Yeah, I was going to retire there.
I have a lot of friends that have retired there.
Yeah.
In Bali especially.
But the negatives were so big, I just couldn't do it. So I came back and I lived in one of my students' driveway for 6 months.
Aww.
Yeah, he had this old motorhome. It didn't have any air conditioning or any heating or anything in there, but I could use his house. He had a little small house.
Yeah.
Use his restroom and
Right.
shower up and everything,
Yeah.
to do that. So, that worked out fine. And then.
But you have schools all over the country now.
Yeah, I don't own them.
Right.
I have an association, and they're member schools.
And you're teaching.
I teach. I have my own school.
Right. Do you want
as
to tell
part
the
of this.
audience, because we have a big audience?
Yeah, this is our school.
Can you read that? Perfect.
Yeah.
And tell the people what form of karate you do.
Kenpo.
Kenpo. And what is the difference? I used to do Shotokan, but tell the people what the difference is between Shotokan and Kenpo.
There are a couple of main differences. In the early days, when I first started with Ed Parker, we looked just like Shotokan. I mean, exactly like it, with the low horse stances, like really wide, real power moves,
Right.
and we did all that. We looked just like them.
Yeah.
And then, over a short period of time, from 59 to like 65, something like that, Ed started introducing Chinese influences into what it is that we're doing. And basically what he wanted to do was Americanize Kenpo.
Do you think he was, should we say, the founding father to introduce it here for the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time in this country?
Oh yeah, he was.
Because maybe a lot of people...
He wasn't the first guy. There was other guys who were here before him, but Ed made a really big splash. He did a couple of things that were like really, really smart. He started the International Karate Championships, and it truly was international. I mean, we would have 5,000 competitors.
Wow.
It was huge. Went on for years. And he introduced Bruce Lee, to the world.
He was
actually.
incredible. I loved Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I sparred with him once.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good luck. I'm surprised you lived to tell about it.
No, he's surprised he lived to tell about it.
Really?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
he was. The thing about Bruce is that he was an amazing talent, incredible physical condition.
Yeah.
I mean, he could do one-finger push-ups.
Jeez.
Yeah, he was pretty amazing. but he never really competed.
Yeah.
He wasn't a competitor, you know. And it's like,
was he a master but never competed?
you know, he would spar with people, you know, back and forth. But his philosophy was a lot like my philosophy. I mean, I kind of felt the same way. I have modified Kenpo over the years to suit my idea of what I want to be able to teach,
Right.
and what I want to have, you know, going on. But you mentioned my schools earlier. I have member schools. 2 of them are MMA schools.
Wow.
I have, I don't, you know, I'm a martial artist, you know, first and foremost, and I have respect for all of the other styles and all the other systems. And I don't go down that path as, you know, my stuff is better than your stuff.
Right.
You know, that's ridiculous, you know, okay? Because I know some Shotokan guys that would just hammer you, you know.
Right.
Yeah, they really
And
would.
also, the whole thing in karate is to be humble and to know that you have that within you. You have the power, but to always humble yourself and be very disciplined and all that. I wanted to share with the audience a story. The first night I met Elvis was March the 12th, 1975, and shortly after meeting him that night, all the Memphis Mafia was there, including Dave. So at one point, we realized how much we had in common. We both loved horses. I was brought up in Hawaii. He loved Hawaii. There was a lot going on, and I had been taking a form of karate called Shotokan. So he was telling me about Kenpo and the difference between it. So he excused himself at one point, went upstairs, put on his gi, and went to Dave, Sonny, and Red and said, we're going to put on a little exhibition for this gal. And they went in the largest room that they could find, and it was in the Monavale House in Bel Air, and put on an exhibit for me, and I will never forget it. And these guys were so fast and so good, and I will never ever forget it. You may not remember it because it was so long ago, but it's one of the major highlights of my first date with Elvis that I will never ever forget. So you were stuck in my mind from that first night. You had no escape.
Yeah, no, that's a cool story.
Yeah. So I want to again say to everybody, come on out, see the Elvis event here. Again, it's my first time, and it's wonderful. We've got some stalls here. We've got all kinds of vendors, Elvis memorabilia. We've got celebrities and stars. Come out and see Dave and I and Cynthia and Tanya Lamani, and see all the ETAs. They're wonderful, and they'll be vying for top place.
Yeah, going to be a good show. I got one more thing I want to say about what I do with the martial arts. For about 45 years now, I have been featuring women's self-defense as a part and parcel of what I do. And I have been hammering this project all these years. I've had so many doors slammed in my face, you know, over the whole thing, but I've persevered over the years. In the last year at my school in tiny little Gardnerville, you know, 11,000 people, or 13,000, something like that, we have put over 100 women through our self-defense courses that we're doing.
That's great.
We teach workshops and short-term courses for women in particular, and one of the classes we did was for teens.
Oh.
Yeah, so we got a bunch of young girls, you know, high school girls.
Right.
And we had 20 of them actually, you know, to show up for the class. We insisted that they bring one or both of their parents, because we wanted them to see exactly what we're going to be doing to their kids. You know?
Exactly.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And they didn't even want to be there in the first place.
Oh, really?
No, 16-year-old girls are primarily interested in
Boys.
looking good,
And boys.
being as cute as they can possibly be, so they can
boys.
attract as many boys as possible. And the good news is that it works.
It works, but then...
The bad news is that it works.
That's right. That's
So
exactly right.
we do, I've written books on the subject, you know, frankly. We break it down into 2 sections. What has to happen for women
Right.
is you need to develop your own personal protection plan,
Right.
whatever that may happen to be. But you probably don't know how to do that.
Exactly.
So we do it for you. And the first part of the plan is intuition, awareness, and avoidance. The thinking being is that if you can learn to recognize a dangerous or threatening situation before it becomes physical,
Yes.
and to get your little self out of Dodge,
Exactly.
then you have just saved yourself the very best way possible.
And do you tell these girls to stop texting and on the phone while they're walking aimlessly down the street?
Oh.
Because that is the worst thing I've ever seen, because anybody can come up behind you, get a hold around your neck, and do whatever they want, because you are not aware, ladies. You are texting, walking down the street. You need to be aware around you. And you know what I do when I was taught in my classes in Shotokan is if I'm walking down an alley or I'm walking someplace where it's a little bit shady, or just down the street, you know what I do? I'll be looking, I'm always looking to my left and right, and then I turn around. Every once in a while, quickly, just to make sure that nobody's on my tail, and I turn around all the time when I'm walking. Broad daylight or evening, I don't care. I do it all the time just to make sure nobody's on me.
I'll tell you, you mentioned something in what you just said that rings a bell, is that you also have to be very careful about the kind of advice you accept from someone just because they happen to be claim to be anyhow some kind of expert,
Right.
like walking down dark alleys late at night.
Exactly.
Now, the interesting thing about it sounds like good advice. Don't do that, right?
Yeah.
However, the problem is that, do you know any girl who of her own volition walks down dark alleys late at night?
They shouldn't.
No.
I've been known to, but you shouldn't.
Do you know any predator that hangs out in dark alleys late at night waiting for some stupid girl to come by?
Always.
Yeah,
Always.
Where they are is in the park where you're jogging, oblivious to your surroundings.
Thinking it's safe and it's beautiful and it's nature.
Yeah.
And out from a tree comes some homeless guy or something. And there you are because you're not aware. Or you've got the headphones on and you're so busy listening to the music or
Yep.
talking to your friend
Yep.
while you're jogging that you're not aware of your surroundings, people.
Yep.
And women, you have to be aware.
Yes.
When you're driving, when you're getting in your car,
Just remember,
always.
intuition, awareness, and avoidance.
Say that to the camera. Really say it.
Knowledge is power.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what empowers you. That gives you the ability to be able to assess a situation and make sense of it. Now, for instance, how do you tell a bad guy?
How do you tell a bad guy?
There's like 5 different ways you can do that. Because predators